Blessing. All we're doing, so all they seeing is human beings killing other human beings. Where they're going and what they'll be, then the children only gonna go where we lead them. Cry for the children, cry for the children, cry for the children, cry for the children. Understand? Little rich girl, she 10, hooked on Vicodin. Little poor girl, she 8 and she hardly ate. So our little stomach growling, keep her up all late. Little boy 13, gotta hustle the fiends. So a little boy 9, about to lose his mind. He was kidnapped and forced to fight in the army with a bunch of other little soldiers crying for mommy. The children are the future, we say. So tell me why we desecrate the children this way. It's an Amber Alert, a child's getting hurt. Nobody cares, we put our heads in the dirt. Yo, to me that's crazy cause the children come first. Make them feel protected, give the children comfort. All we doing, so all they seeing is human beings killing other human beings. The children are lost with no one to lead them, so I cry for the children. Cry for the children. I cry for the children. I cry for the children. Cry for the children. And so I cry for the children. 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 They lost with no one to lead them. I cry for the children down on Edmond's son, cause for the sickness that we gave them there's no medicine. Cry South America and Africa, Israel and Palestine, yo I'm there with ya. You see each and every child on this earth is born naked, and then we take them and we clothe them with hatred. We have a vow to protect and yo we break it. I see them crying and I just can't take it, so I cry for them, sigh for them. Somebody gotta ask why for them. Mommy and daddy, why you lied to them? Put my life on the line, yo I died for them. I mean, we could give them peace for sure. Instead we choose to send our children to war. Tell them life and love and all that special. You still fighting over land when the land will outlast you. So I cry for the children, 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 I cry for the children. They lost with no one to lead them. The children gonna learn the truth someday. The summer only holy on a Sunday. Only a few will try to build with you. The rest, all they wanna do is steal from you. Children take that burden, yet they take it gladly. Tell them live righteous and tell them be happy. Tell them that you love them and we need them badly. Teach them culture and I teach them family. Please, don't make the children be another victim. Give them the knowledge and let life give.
I'm Michelle Odom, one of the co-hosts of the book group, and I'm in New York. Welcome, Georgette.
I'm Georgette Moses, and I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm happy to be among my book group friends here tonight.
Okay, welcome.
Joelle.
Joel from Charleston, South Carolina. Just glad to be here.
Labeeb.
All right, Labeeb Hameed, coming to you live from Long Island, New York. Happy to be here. Happy to see everybody that is here today.
And you're moderating today.
Yes, I'm moderating today. Forgive me.
And Randie.
Hi, my name is Randie. I am watching from Atlanta. I'm excited Labeeb is moderating because I don't think I've ever been in a meeting where he was. I don't know if he has yet. So this is new.
Yeah, it is new. And Venita.
Hi, my name is Venita Walker. I'm joining you all from Connecticut. Welcome to the National Black Feminist Book Group. Enjoy the evening.
Very good. This is from Alice Walker's book, We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For, Inner Light and in a Time of Darkness. And this is from chapter 7. You know, if obviously if you have any questions, you know, feel free to stop me, for some kind of an explanation to the best that I can understand. I want everybody to understand that basically we're all on the same page, in terms of our ability to understand, the subject matter. All right. And what I'm going to try to do is just break it down in common people's terms. It's really what it is. To extract the juice that Alice Walker has delivered to us in this great chapter 7. So let me I'll start here again. Tonight I'm moderating, and tonight I'm presenting. So it's Alice Walker's book entitled "We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For: Inner Light in a Time of Darkness." Let me just start there and say that through this book here, Alice is trying to let us know, the reader, the members of this group, the ones who study this book, okay, and human beings that occupy the planet Earth. She wants us to understand that we, as individuals and as a collective, we are our own saviors. We are the saviors of humanity. That if you are looking outside of yourself, okay, or somewhere beyond the collective for the solution that ails humanity and threatens the longevity of humanity, you're looking in the wrong place. She's saying that the answers really lie within. And since these are very dark times, and this particular chapter indicates something of the darkness that we are confronted by. So in these dark times, to find the light which will guide us out, we have to look within. And we're going to have to find the strength and the wherewithal to look after each other, and in order to get out of this plight that we're in. All right. With that said, let me begin by a reading of the opening of the chapter, which opens with an excerpt from a speech that President Fidel Castro gave back in, I believe it was in April of 2002. Chapter 7, I call that man religious, healing the universal heart, becoming intimate with that which is foreign. I call that man religious who understands the suffering of others. And that's a quote from Gandhi. This talk was written for a convocation at the College of Integral Studies in San Francisco on April 11, 2002. I had been thinking of the split between the dark and the light mother, and how the son of the dark mother rarely has had a voice that is listened to in the governing of the world. It is because he speaks for the majority of mothers and children on the planet who are dark. I begin my talk tonight with the words of someone whose voice is almost completely silenced and ignored by the government and media in my country, Fidel Castro Ruz, President of the Republic of Cuba. They are excerpted from a speech he gave at the International Conference on Financing and Development in Monterrey, Mexico, on March 21st, 2002. Fidel addresses the audience as follows. Excellencies, not everyone here will share my thoughts. Still, I will respectfully say what I think. The existing world economic order constitutes a system of plundering and exploitation like no other in history. Thus, the peoples believe less and less in and the prestige of the international financial institutions rates less than zero. The world economy is today a huge casino. Recent analysis indicate that for every dollar that goes into trade, over 100 end up in speculative operations completely disconnected from the real economy. As a result of this economic order, over 75% of the world population lives in underdevelopment and extreme poverty, has already reached 1.2 billion people in the third world. So far from narrowing, the gap is widening. The revenue of the richest nations that in 1960 was 37 times larger than that of the poorest is now 74 times larger. The situation has reached such extremes that the assets of the 3 wealthiest persons in the world amount to the GDP, gross domestic product, of the 48 poorest countries combined. The number of people actually starving was 826 million in the year 2001. There are at the moment 854 million illiterate adults, while 325 million children do not attend school. There are 2 billion people who have no access to low-cost medications, and 2.4 billion lack the basic sanitation conditions. No lower than 11 million children under the age of 5 perish every year from preventable causes, while 500,000 go blind for lack of vitamin A. The lifespan of the population in the developed world is 30 years longer than that of people living in sub-Saharan Africa. A true genocide. The poor countries should not be blamed for this tragedy. They neither conquered nor plundered entire continents for centuries. They did not establish colonialism or reestablish slavery, and modern imperialism is not of their making. Actually, they have been its victims. Therefore, the main responsibility for financing their development lies with those states that, for obvious historical reasons, enjoy today the benefits of those atrocities. The rich world should forgive these countries foreign debt and grant them new soft credits to finance their development. The traditional offers of assistance, always scant and often ridiculous, are either inadequate or unfulfilled. I'm going to stop it there, and let me lead to my first question. I got to grab my other notes, so bear with me. Let me start by explaining something about wealth, and then wealth disparity. In order to understand the generation of wealth in the Western world over the last 500 years, 5 centuries, we have to talk about the transatlantic slave trade. We have to. We have to talk about the colonization of the Western Hemisphere, South America, the Caribbean, Latin America, and the American colonies. we're talking about an industry of virtually free labor producing any number of commodities. According to W.E.B. Du Bois, the amount of wealth that was generated just in like the last 250 years of the slave trade amounts to trillions. Okay, none of this wealth going to the laborers. Most of the wealth being concentrated amongst a few slave owners. Okay, and then the various different industries that developed off of the slave trade and slavery helped to finance the railroads, Standard Oil, helped to finance banking. We think of J.P. Morgan was prominent in banking at the turn of the 20th century. John D. Rockefeller was prominent in the oil industry at the turn of the century, 20th century. Andrew Carnegie with steel at the turn of the century. The Vanderbilts in the railroads and so on and so forth. These captains of industry helped to transfer the initial wealth that was generated from slavery into the industrial age. Okay, and the further down we go in the line, the more concentrated the wealth became. In the 80s, under Ronald Reagan, began the deregulation of Wall Street, and investing and so on and so forth. So you had an even further concentration of wealth being in the hands of a few. And you could take a look every year at Forbes magazine's listing of Fortune 400. These are the 400 richest people in the world, and in particular in the United States. And what you will find is like 99% of the members of the Fortune 400 are white, and then some are white families, and there are very few. I think Oprah is one of them. You find very, very few black people that are listed on that list. But simply put, over the last few centuries, in a generation of real wealth, which was based on real commodities like property, oil, precious metals, and things of that nature, the concentration of the wealth has been in the hands of, and is still in the hands of, whites, who traditionally have not been the laborers, who have not been the producers of the products, but have been the beneficiaries of. And the majority of the people who were the laborers then and still now are non-white people. So let me, forgive me here, let me just, I'm checking over my, let me just define the term real assets as being physical or tangible assets that have value due to their substance and properties. Real assets include, as I mentioned, precious metals, real estate, agricultural land, and oil. we now get into another aspect of generating wealth, and this adds to the problem of keeping wealth in the hands of a few and away from the masses, and that is speculative operations. Definition: the purchase or sale of securities or commodities in expectation of profiting from fluctuations in their prices. And I say to you, to try to understand that fact, think of the rising and falling of the gas prices at the gas pump. That rising and falling has everything to do with, and very little to do with, the lack of the product being available to the market. But more it has to do with that there are people who invest money in speculating whether or not the price of gas is going to rise this month or if it's going to fall next month, and how much. And they make this money basically just playing on numbers. It's not a real generation of money based on the amount of product, for example. It's based strictly on speculation and the rumors of the price will rise or the price will fall, and then hedging, bets, if you will, in that vein. All right. So, are we pretty clear on one, how, in a nutshell, how wealth has been generated over the last few centuries? That's basically the first piece of it being slave trade and the industry of slavery, and the natural products, if you will, that were produced from that labor: wheat, corn, rice, sugar cane, X, Y, and Z. And that wealth was concentrated in the hands of a few, and then it helped to finance the next growth or next economic basis of this country, which was the industrial age. And then there were a few standouts in the industrial age, namely Andrew Carnegie in steel, John D. Rockefeller in Standard Oil, the Vanderbilts in the building of trains and railroads, and owning certain strips of railroad, and transporting commodities throughout the country, that kind of thing. They had a monopoly on the industry, and J.P. Morgan in banking. From what I understand, J.P. Morgan helped to finance Thomas Edison, and helped to win the Niagara hydroelectric plant. Helped to win that bid to have that project built, that then provided for the electrical system and electrical power throughout New York State and some parts of Canada, and then westward. Anyway, so with that said, I pretty much answered my own question, but just so we're all on the same page, who are the world's laborers? Just, you look around you, the world's laborers are, okay, go ahead. What? The world laborers, we all know, for the most part, are non-white people. Of course, there are white people in the mix, but when you look at, where products are made, and who are making those products, it's non-white people. You have, plants in Latin America. You've got. I had learned some years ago that Bethlehem Steel, which was Andrew Carnegie's industry, was sold to a company in India some years ago. So again, you've got non-white people as laborers in the steel industry.
Tell them live righteous and tell them be happy. Tell them that you love them and we need them badly. Teach them culture and I teach them family. Please don't make the children be another victim. Give them the knowledge and let life give wisdom. See, life shouldn't be so harsh. We gave up on our progeny, that's how it starts. Trying to wash your hands of them, they can't get washed. Gave up on your progeny and now they lost. Please, before you fly a plane in the building, yo, why don't you think about the children before you let Bush drop another bomb to kill them? Please, oh please, meditate on the children. We teach war to our sons and our daughter, and that's why they inherit the wars of the father. So I cry for the children, cry for the children, cry for the children, I cry for the children, no, I cry for the children, I cry for the children, I cry for the children, cry for the children, I cry, I for the children, no, I cry for the children, they lost with no one to lead them.